40 years ago, whenever it was when they built it over the highway. But yeah, he actually was one of the guys with rollers who painted that building. And when I was 9 or 10 years old, that was the first convention I ever did, was at Bartle Hall. It wasn't an art convention. It was the Midwest Inventions Fair, because when
Jasmine, tell us what your invention was.
You know, I'm trying to think what it was. I did the invention fair a few times. I used to when I was a kid. I used to. Yeah, well, I did 3 different things. I used to come up with inventions, and I would go to Bartle Hall for the Inventions Fair as a kid and try to sell the patents to like merchandise companies. And I invented one of them, actually all of them have turned into products, but I never saw any money from any of them. But one of them was a pen, snack pen, that had like a pen you'd like make art with, but it had candy inside of it. Like you're supposed to bring it to school, and it was like fake school supplies.
Can you tell us what the slogan was?
Sneak a snack with snack a pen.
Sneak a snack with snack a pen.
Yes, and it's kind of sad because later on a candy company totally took that, and they even did, because I also had little composition notebooks that had candy in them, and it was a way like you could bring it to school.
Because they go to little kids' idea fairs
and they steal them.
Ideas.
No, I don't know what happened. It's probably just great minds think alike or whatever. Anyways, and then I did another year, and it was a nail polish pen. It was all very pen based, you know. And on the back of it had a different cartridge that had like a little sponge, like an eraser at the end, and it had acetone and like nail polish remover in it. And you could, if you messed up on your fingernails, you could like take the eraser and go on your fingernails. And it was a really cool idea. Anyways, that was at Bartle Hall. And it's neat to be back at Bartle Hall in Kansas City, where I grew up, the building my dad painted, and that's why I'm doing a special Jasmine painted something, and it's a pin, and she's back in her hometown. So that's why I kind of went all out on this one and made it very special. And it's not even based on a painting. It's a original design that I've come up with, and that will be a special pin. I will probably keep a couple and give them away to Twitch people too, and definitely a couple Patreon people. I always
when
make
I saw
like
the design,
5 extras.
my eyeballs popped out.
But I don't want to do a variant on this one because I want it to look like me. If I made her have, I don't know, blonde hair, it wouldn't look like. If I made her have purple skin or something, it wouldn't be enough of a difference. I like a variant to look different enough. It's not like, oh, one of her fingers is slightly pink. I don't want it to be. I don't want to milk that. And I understand why people do, because it saves a lot of money if you're making the same molds. But I do want to do a Twitch specific one that is a self-portrait of some sort, because I've gotten so much feedback after I posted that little one on Patreon that I definitely will do something special too. We're also thinking about doing for Patreon one with the Strangeling logo.
Yes,
that has been one of our biggest requests.
Has been the biggest
yes,
of that.
yes, and Paul, my UK distributor, has asked about that. So that's something that we will definitely do also. It just, again, I've got to get out a piece of wood, cut it, make a whole painting, spend a day and a half working on it, scan it in, have the Photoshop stuff done to it, then have the mold made. It takes probably, I don't know, 5 days worth of work to make one single pin when it's an original design like that. So it's not like it's, oh, make that one, make that one. I literally do it. I know I could probably hire people to do it, but that's just not how I roll, really.
Well, you like to be in control a bit.
Well, that's the thing too. I could probably hire people, but then what if they did it wrong? It's like why I do my own taxes. I'm like, well, what if they messed up? If I do it wrong, I want it because I made the mistake, not because somebody else did. Because then I wouldn't even know how to get mad at. So
there are positives and negatives to delegation.
There are, and I'm not good at delegating.
No one, no matter who it is, under like Jasmine, me, Sarah, her sister, no one will be as passionate about a project as she is.
No, you can probably see how I just kind of
it would be impossible for us to be.
It's like, no, come on, Sarah, think about the time that your dad painted that building and make you excited about it. You know, that's not something that could really.
No, we are excited about other things.
Exactly,
and that's human nature.
Exactly. That's just how it is.
And that's why people.
So that is a personal one, and that is why I'm probably not going to do it. And that's why I'm not going to sell it either. That's why it's one I'm going to give away. I would feel not cheap, but I would feel something about selling it. So that's what I'm giving away as just like a prize for showing up. And also I'd like to see that show there in Kansas City do well, because all my family just about lives in that area.
One thing I will say that might be good for those people who have seen us at Dragon Con and MegaCon, and you're going to come to Planet Comic-Con or Spectrum,
It is
what
the
I'm
same
guessing,
show, yeah.
it's not going to be as big.
Oh, I don't think so. It's not that big of a show. It is 3 days.
Have a crazy line
I've
because of
never
the pen,
been to. I've been
it's
to
not going to be
Spectrum,
wacky.
but yeah, no, it shouldn't be too crazy.
I don't think it's possible.
That's why I'm not doing like 3 different pins. It's not
Right.
a
It's
huge
not
mega
Dragon
show
Con.
like Comic-Con in San Diego or Dragon Con in Atlanta or anything. Or even MegaCon here in Florida. It's going to be a smaller show, and I don't know what's there because I have not been to that, but I've been to Spectrum, which is the art-specific show, and since they're combining them, I think that will get a lot of people are interested in art as far as regular conventions.
Now, question.
What's that?
One, this is 2-part question.
Oh, okay. Well,
One,
sounds like
any
a convention
ideas for
already.
the Tintagel pin?
Oh, yeah.
How many of those will you be making?
Tintagel is a 1-day show that's only about 6 hours long. So I probably won't make a whole lot. It would probably be a 100 pin show, maybe. I don't know. To be honest, I'll probably talk with the show organizers and ask them about their attendance, because with something like Disney World, like at the Pop Gallery at Disney Springs, 200 makes sense because it's Disney World. There's a lot of people there. If you're in Cornwall on the ocean and it's a Saturday and it's not like and it's a free show, I mean, it probably won't be wall-to-wall people. It's not going to be the sort of thing where you've got 90 police escorts out and stuff. It's going to be more like a family sort of event. It's not a big crazy thing. So I'm guessing I would probably either do 100 or 200. I am going to have the pin based loosely on a painting that I am doing that I will be debuting at the I'm not sure if I'll have the original there, but I'll have the prints will be debuting at Tintagel. The poem La Belle Dame Sans Merci, have you know that?
Wow.
And it's also a song, and
Man,
a lot of pre-Raphaelites. I think
that.
every pre-Raphaelite had to do like 2 of them.
You know what? I've never seen a bad one.
They're all
Gorgeous.
very lovely.
Gorgeous.
There's Malay ones, Waterhouse. I mean, everybody did La Belle Dame Sans Merci. The Sting did a song about it. I mean, there's a lot of it's an ongoing theme, and that has this sort of. It has a knight in it, so it's like a knight with a K, like, you know, knights and lords and ladies, and it is Tintagel, the fairy festival in England. That is, obviously, it's got an Arthurian, King Arthur sort of Camelot theme, and I'm going to have the pin based at least a little bit on the painting that I'm doing for that. And as that painting is still percolating up here, and I'm still working on the layout for it, on the painting itself, the pin will be taken from that. But that will be something I'll be working on probably here at Twitch at the end of February, maybe early March, because I need to do a couple months ahead of time, obviously, to get for promos and to get the molds made for the pins and all that. So keep an eye out here at Twitch, and you guys in Patreon will be the first people to see it. So I'm not sure if I will have, it might have some armor in it, maybe, we'll see. No. It's funny because Tintagel obviously is going to have Arthurian sort of themes to it, and that's one of the fairy festivals I do. And then I also do the Glastonbury Fairy Festival. I'll be there in October this year, and that is another one that, I mean, King Arthur is kind of sort of probably buried there at Glastonbury. So we kind of just haunt all the King Arthur areas as far as the festivals go in England. But of course, that's really great for that sort of fantasy and fairies and Morgan Le Fay and all the exciting Lady of the Lake stories. There's a lot of wonderful stories and material that go with that. So it really speaks to me as a fantasy artist and as a pseudo, sometimes an England person. That's a word, right?
We are sometimes England people.
Okay, so now you can see I've kind of outlined her hair. I don't know how good this shows up, but before it was just kind of like a big fuzzy mess I had done with one of my fuzzy brushes. But now it's actually got some shape to it, and she does look a little bit bedraggled because I want this window. I don't want, again, this is a window if you haven't noticed before. It's got a windowsill around it. It's loosely inspired by a painting I did about 20 years ago called Seventh Afternoon. I want it to look like it's a window that doesn't have a screen or glass in it. I want it to be like a proper window. Not like one in Florida. It's got like 2 pieces of glass and a screen in it. Yeah.
The La Belle Dame Sans Merci by Dixie is in the Bristol Gallery.
Oh, nice.
And
Very nice.
said she's seen that, and it's huge.
Oh, it's always funny when you see
things like that. And the poem is carved into the frame.
Oh,
is
yes.
cool.
I love it when they used to do things like that. And I really like doing that when I can, when I get Matt to make me make... Oh, is that our man? Or is it the prize?
That is the prize.
It's neat when there's
After
a painting
this, I'm
you've
supposed
seen.
To do cashew time,
You've
I
only
promise
seen
people.
like a painting you've only seen like in books, and you see it in
microphone.
person, and always seems either huge and you didn't know it's that big, or it's tiny and you didn't know it's that tiny. That's what's part of the fun of seeing original artwork in person as opposed to just like seeing it on your phone or whatever. And this will be for acrylic. Has Moobot picked somebody?
I will pick in 1 second.
And again, I promise I've seen like in books and see it in person, and it always seems either huge and you didn't know it's that big, or it's tiny and you didn't know it's that tiny. That's what's part of the fun of seeing original artwork in person as opposed to just like seeing it on your phone or whatever. And this will be for acrylic. Has Moobot picked somebody?
I will pick in 1 second.
And again, I promise I will autograph her. I just haven't yet because we just got these at Epcot last night, so I will sign her.
Moobot,
and look at
so
all those
much more complicated.
the worried puppies paintings. Yeah, yeah. At least it's still exclamation point raffle. And if you haven't entered yet, please do, because we've got 3 more giveaways tonight.
Avaznan.
Avaznan, congratulations.
Gosh, I swear they've won before.
You have.
But
Maybe
don't
they
I always
have.
say that?
The odds are pretty good. If you're somebody who comes every time I do Twitch and we do like 4 giveaways of Twitch, the odds are in your favor. It's like the opposite of the lottery. And I don't know if you can see the background. It's a lovely street there in London. It's mostly all dark. You can see the lightning there. But if you look at this window here, the furthest away off to the side, that house is lit, and you can see it kind of reflecting down into the water.
That reminds me of our little place in Mayfair.
Yes, I was going to say, it looks suspiciously, I wouldn't have been that specific, but yes, it looks a lot like our
little place in London.
My studio in London.
England.
It looks a lot like our
Earth.
street. Yeah, you could. Good luck finding us, but it looks like a lot of London, actually. Actually, it looks kind of like our celebration house, too.
Also, I just want to thank everyone that, since we broadcasted, thank you for joining our Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? You got some Patreon? Yes. Like Matt was saying, he isn't just being a salesman there. It really is a good time to join, because all those pins I showed you are, with the exception of the one for Kansas City, those are ones you're going to be getting if you're a Patreon pin collector.
So thank you so much.
And we only make a certain amount of those, and they
love
really
to visit
do run
the
out.
Bristol Gallery.
I would like to also. I've been to Bristol a few times. It's usually
it's an airport situation.
It's usually like we're flying into Bristol because I'm doing a show in Glastonbury, and I do Glastonbury like every year or so. So we're usually like there.
But isn't
driving around catching like it's a wonderful
Don't you
drive.
love that drive?
You go through that. If you go from Bristol to Glastonbury and you're driving, you go through that place with all the big rocks, and there's mountain goats there. And I've never seen them, and everybody's like, "Oh, did you see the mountain goats?" And I'm like, "I didn't see the mountain goats, but apparently they're there."
All right, I will snatch his cashews. Do you want to feed Jess?
I'll take a couple cashews, sure.
All right.
I'm taking some of that same color I was using in her hair, and I'm going over the top part of her the colored part of her eye, the iris of her eye, not the pupil, but the iris. You might be able to see that better now. It's starting to look more three-dimensional because an eyeball is a sphere. It is a ball. So if you make it too flat, it starts looking like a doll as opposed to a person. I want it to be like a glass full sphere of an eye as opposed to like a painted-on sort of Barbie doll. I like to make it actually look circular. So when I paint an eye, I think about the circle as a sphere going up all the way around, like above where her eyelid is. So the part that's going to be closest to you is going to have, if it has lighting on it, like a bit of a reflection, that in itself is going to be slightly curved. I've put kind of a light bluish gray. I'll probably make it more green because since the main lighting source in the background is that kind of green cloud, that's going to be the backlit bit. I'll probably put one side of it kind of green, and the other side will be kind of a brighter green because I think we talked about last time, she's got an absinthe sort of fountain here. I'm going to make that kind of glow. They don't glow in real life unless you're like at Disney World or something like that. They don't usually glow, but I'll make that a light source that's going up, and that one will be coming from the back. Yeah.
P-Love just gave us 400 more bits.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
For a total of 1,600.
Wow. Well, they are
much.
probably winning. That's a lot of bits.
They are winning.
Yay! Thank you. And congratulations, I think. Sorry, in my cache.
Oh, Shaylee says that's Cheddar, the rocky area with the goats.
Yeah.
They have some darling little cheese shops. I bet they do. Sweet shops and even a wood carving shop. And a gorgeous little antique place called the Spider's Web.
Oh, see,
I knew you would love it there, hee hee.
We should go actually spend some more time exploring that area because we're
and
around
Shaylee
there
says
a
that's
lot.
local to her.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's a lovely place to be. It's gorgeous. I mean, it looks like something you'd see in Colorado or something, but it's like in between the airport and Glastonbury. It's amazing.
Glastonbury is great. I'm so happy that we'll be able to go to Glastonbury this year.
Yeah, we'll be in Glastonbury in October.
Yeah, we get to do 2 Karen K events.
Yes, we do. Karen K is the lady who runs a lot of the fairy festivals in England, and
she's one of the best people in the whole world.
She runs Fae Magazine, which is a wonderful magazine, FAE magazine. If you haven't seen it, it is in a time now that it's really hard to find good, actually printed magazines. And otherwise, it's like, I get to see it on my iPad, but that's when you actually want to look at in person.
I'm going to go ahead and put a link up.
Beautiful.
I think they may have back copies of the.
Oh, did they have your Oaken
story?
They might do. I was going to say that's the one that printed me on Story Oaken Mead that had the painting that I did.
Beautiful painting.
And I did a pin of it
last month.
Last month.
Actually, we still need to do a giveaway for that.
Oh,
Maybe we can do that soon.
I was going to say we could do that soon.
Yeah, I'll print it off and I will sign it and it'll come with a pin. I'm sure a lot of you have the Oaken Mead pin.
Probably.
Why not another one, right?
You can get a spare. You can trade it to people. But now, Fae Magazine, they do a lot of really beautiful photography spreads in it.
Yes, I'm putting a link up right now. It's fantastic.
And some of the best contemporary clothing you've ever seen, artisans who make it themselves and sell it in their Etsy store. And there aren't a lot of high quality sort of printed nice magazines like that, and they are really holding the banner up for anybody who does that sort of thing. And Karen, our friend, is the person, and she and her husband, or her partner Michael, make lovely music too. They kind of do Celtic sort of folk rock music that is very cool, which is probably why all of her events always have concerts involved.
Oh darn it, the Fae issue of spring 2015
is it sold out?
Is sold out. I'll put the link up just because it mentions my name.
Oh, well, hey.
And it mentions your name, of course,
too.
too.
My name on
but
it.
If you guys have that.
Wow, that's probably a collector's item.
It is, and I'd always be happy to sign it.
We had some. Remember Karen gave us some extra ones and we brought it to, was it MegaCon?
Yes, I gave some to a few friends, and then I gave some away on...
and you gave some on your Patreon.
I gave it away on my
Wattpad.
Facebook.
One of those. Facebook. Okay.
Yes. That was before I had Patreon.
That was before you had Patreon, yeah. But Matt is on Patreon. If you guys don't know, look him up.
Yes, and I promise I'm getting the stuff soon.
He promises.
I promise.
He says. Yeah.
I says.
Okay.
I promises.
I'm putting some pure white on here. I'm not going to leave it pure white when I'm finished with it, but I'm putting it on there on the areas of this little fountain area that I wanted it to be a very light color. So I'm putting white on there now, because I know I'm going to glaze over it, much like I did last time when I did the back of the landscape and I kind of put clear green all over everything. I do that with this, but I want it to be a little bit of a light source. So it's gonna look magic. It's not gonna look like a sun tea thing filled with green Gatorade. It's gonna actually look like it's magic and kind of glowing.
I cannot wait.
Yay.
This painting is great. Now, as Jasmine knows, absinthe and all the derivatives of the substance are close to my heart.
Yeah.
I've always loved absinthe.
It's a drink that's got a lot of different herbal components to it. It's got anise in it, so it tastes a lot kind of like licorice, and it's got a dozen other different herbs.
It's also heavily romanticized.
It is.
Both in artists and writers.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm sure there are so many art historians in the room.
Oh yeah, I think we talked last time about how many people turn of the century, the late 1800s, painted
French
absinthe drinkers. I mean, if you search that name, that title, that's going to be so many of them, which is kind of the nod to me giving the kind of weird, like in the first one I did, the weird kind of floating table that isn't attached to anything. It's supposed to kind of be a hallucinogen, but to be honest, if you look at the makeup of it, it's like, I don't know, 80% alcohol, so that's probably a lot to do with it.
Well,
so I really don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know.
There are a few liquids I've had in my mouth that have made me more warm than absinthe.
Yeah, if you're really cold out and like a St. Bernard has a barrel around his neck and you're like skiing
and absinthe,
that will warm your bones.
That'd be a freaky St. Bernard.
Well, there you go.
How many paintings do you create a month? Gosh, that depends on the month.
It depends on the month, and also depends on
designs and whatnot. I mean,
I was gonna say, it depends what you mean by paintings too. For example, I was showing you the these are the computer concepts I finished based off of the paintings. So I guess this week I've done 4 paintings since I saw you guys last Sunday.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So if I were to guess, I'd probably say I do 3 to 4 a week. roughly. But that is literally all I do unless I'm doing something like this on Twitch, which I'm also painting, or if I'm in a show or I'm traveling to go promote
or if
my
I'm
artwork
lucky
somewhere.
enough to steal my beautiful wife away for a week, and she doesn't have to paint anything.
Occasionally, yes.
Sometimes she just belongs to me, guys.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Probably count on one hand how many times it's happened, but
or how long does it take you to create one painting? Well, that's a That's a rough question too. It depends on the.
Well, something like this.
Look at this painting.
Okay.
The details are wacky.
This painting is this is a very complicated painting. I don't know. A lot of what's going to be taking time on this is the idea that I decided to make it embroidered because I